How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Massive Beer Reviews, back to the end of the review. A little bit of U.S. American, New York-born Pilsner time in the form of Suarez Brewing's Palatine Pils. Yeah, Suarez Family Brewery. I have never been there before up until last week. Me and my beautiful wife, we went to Rhinebeck, New York for a sheep and wool festival. She makes stuff out of fiber and dyes yarn and does all that kind of stuff. And one of the country's biggest kind of festivals for that is in Rhinebeck. So we ended up going that way, and I was like, Suarez is only like 20 minutes away. So lo and behold, we go there. Had a couple of beers. They didn't have this on draft, but they had this to go. Super excited to give it a whirl. I haven't had it before. So, yeah. Let's dive into it. As far as what it says on here, Palatine Pils, brewed and packaged at Suarez Family Brewery. It was canned on 9/19. This is the 25th of October, so just about a month old. It says to drink at 11/21, so they give you about 2 months to drink it. And that's pretty much it. Brewery name, government warning stuff, done and done. Label-wise, it's cool. It's kind of like fat Sharpie marker written on kind of parchment paper kind of thing. So, yeah, I dig it. Don't blow me away. So, there you go. Let's give it a whirl. Suarez, one of the more popular breweries out there nowadays, especially among the I don't know what's the word I want to call them, hipstery folk. They make great beers. The stuff that I've had from them has been pretty damn delicious. And they do one thing that I love a ton, which not a lot of breweries do, is they pretty much focus on lower ABV beers. Your sub 6%. I don't think they make anything over 6%. I think it's more like mid 5s and below. So that's pretty cool. I dig that. I like the lower ABV stuff. On that pour, gentle pour, got, just under a pinky finger ahead, dissipating, as it should. Just barely off weight. And a soft, uber clear, soft carbonated Pilsner looking beer. Definitely no surprises in that. Let's get a nose. Just a nice, sweet, kind of slightly bready, crackery kind of maltiness at what you'd expect from a Pilsner. There's a nice, almost like a berry skin vibe to the actual hop portion. So there's a little bit of bitterness, old school, kind of zazzy, hoppy kind of stuff. The stuff you typically expect to be in a Pilsner, but I'm getting this nice kind of berry note in it. So it comes off a little bit different than your uber traditional Pilsner. It smells like uber traditional. There's a heaping helping of traditional in it, but it has a little twist, enough to let you know you're separating yourself from your German and your Czech kind of Pilsner. And that's pretty much it. Nice, soft, sweet, slightly breaded, crackery kind of maltiness. Soft bittering to balance off that sweetness. And that berry component is really freaking cool. So, yeah, actually, let's do the... Suarez is known for their heady pours on their beers. Let's see if we can actually generate one of these before we actually get the actual beer into the glass. So, look at that. Almost coming over the side. Not as heady as they typically do, but hopefully I did a little bit of a little bit of extra cloudiness in there. So you're talking about having a little bit of bits and pieces of yeastiness floating around there. So that changes the beer. Cheers. Two things immediately spring to mind. First things first, drinking through a gigantic head like that reminds me of my grandfather and my dad. My dad doesn't drink anymore. He did for several years, many years when I was younger. But even my grandfather, I just remember having these big, frothy, heady pours. And those kind of old school, I call them American Legion glasses. I forget the actual name of them. The old school glasses that used to be that kind of curved round and had a little bulbous head. My parents owned a bar for years, backwoods bar in the middle of nowhere. Those glasses bring memories, but also that just sipping through a big head like that reminds me of my grandfather and father. So that in of itself turns me on to the beer in general. Now, two, the bittering is a little bit bigger than I thought it would be. By no means is it an overly bittering beer, but it's definitely bittering forward. Definitely a little bit more spicy, a little bit more herbal than the nose led me to believe. Well, at the same time, I am still getting that soft berry component, so that's pretty damn fun. Nice sweetness to it. It comes off a little bit kind of sweeter than I thought it would be too. Kind of airing almost in a slightly corn vibe sweetness. I'm sure it's just that kind of Pilsner malt kind of doing its thing, but it's that berry component. that I'm gonna pour the rest of this in here, see how murky it gets. That kind of really brings this beer to the forefront for me. The way that it's like a skin on a red berry kind of vibe. Yeah, I actually got a decent amount of haze here. Look at that. That's actually what makes this beer unique in and of itself. It is very traditional in the sense that it tastes like an old school kind of Pilsner, but it does have enough of that new school, enough of that kind of new mindset nuance to kind of bring it into the kind of today world kind of thing. I love me some traditional lager, some traditional Pilsner, so I'm not like either praising it or knocking it for either or the spectrum. I like the combination of two, that helping that big nod to the old school while bringing a bit of that new school in tow. It's good stuff. This is a tasty beer. Tasty, nice, delicious. The haze portion doesn't really add, maybe even a little bit of creaminess actually. Doesn't add too much to it, so don't be afraid to pour the whole thing in there. I like it. I dig it. Suarez, I mean, I've had beers from them before. I've enjoyed them. Like I said, they definitely tickle up my heartstrings because they do the lower ABV stuff. With Dan Suarez coming from Hill Farmstead, working there for many years, he brings that kind of small beer kind of sensibility to it. It's delicious. It's tasty. It's kind of a bummer. They're a little bit too. They're about 2.5 hours away from me. If this brewery was an hour and a half away from me, it would definitely be a go-to for me regularly. But all in all, pretty damn tasty stuff. I actually have 2 more beers from them to review. I brought back a growler and a bottle of beer, so kind of excited to dive into them. Gonna save some. I have friends coming over, so I'll make sure they're here when I crack them. But yeah, tasty Pilsner, delicious. I dig it. I mean, it is a crusher. It's what you want to drink on a daily driver, but you know, it has that added little bit of kind of depth to it to kind of make it a little bit specialer. There you go. So let's talk about it. Is it one of the better Pilsner I've had as of late? Yes. Value and availability, it jumps the shark a little bit. $16 for a 4-pack of Pilsner. That's kind of pricey. But, you know, it is what it is. I paid for it. I didn't have an issue paying for it. But if I live close, I'd really want this to be cheaper. And leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like uber traditional Pilsner, but you want a slight, very meaningful American twist on it, it does what it does, and it does it well. And that sounds kind of a little bit kind of like I'm lacking praise on it, but there's a beautifulness to that, and it nails it quite well. It's uber clean, uber well drinking, and just yeah, exactly what I needed tonight. So there we go, another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice Pilsner right now, and hopefully see you next time. Cheers.